introduce Jeffrey or Jeff. I'm not really sure.
Oh, either one works fine. Thank you.
Okay. And please use the chat, Jeff, and we'll be monitoring that as well. And I'll try to poke my head in every once in a while. So thank you very much.
Well, thank you very much. I really appreciate it, Eric and Linda, for you bringing us this opportunity to talk to people from SCELC who are members, and it's really appreciated. If you wouldn't mind, if you could just put in the chat for me your name and your affiliation, that'd be great, because I'd like to collect that just to know who is here today. So if you just take a second and put your name and affiliation in the chat, that'd be great. So Social Explorer is a market-leading data visualization and mapping program. We make location analysis easy for library patrons. You can make powerful interactive maps quickly. You can produce reports, and by reports, I mean you can download and export the data out of our system and import it into other tools that you may be using, and you can do that with precision. You can add your own data to Social Explorer. You can share your visualizations that you create, and we'll call those stories, and we'll show you what that means in a few minutes. You can visually compare data sets with ease. So you can look at different variables and get an understanding of how they relate in a data visualization tool, mapping tool. You can integrate real world data into courses on campus, and especially for the social sciences and business and history and health sciences, that's very important. It's a powerful research tool. It's the least expensive data visualization product available, and we're ADA compliant. So you can make an immediate impact on disciplines of interest to many departments: American Studies, Health Science, Political Science, Black Studies, Education, Business, Criminal Justice, History, Social Justice, and Sociology, to name a few, as well as Psychology. We're used at over 400 academic libraries. There's a 6-month trial that we're offering right away. It'll go through the end of June. We can set up that trial through IP ranges, through domain verification, Open Athens, Easy Proxy. We're finding that we're getting a tremendous amount of usage now that people have moved off campus through domain verification. We're offering a discount for new adoptions going forward through SCELC, and those would start in July 2021, and they're based on the FTE of the school. Once you're in trial, we offer a tremendous amount of training for both faculty and staff. We can do training at various levels, but we do a lot of in-depth training. And Anna Carlson, who's on the phone with us as well, who will help with part of what I'm going to present today, does a lot of our training, does most of our training. And if the library purchases and the faculty and students integrated into the course, it comes through as a zero text cost type of content for the students, which is a really nice thing as well. And I just want to say, for people who just joined, thank you and welcome. And if you could just take a moment and put your name and your affiliation in the chat function, that'd be great, because I really would like to keep that so I know who attended today. Social Explorer data sets are focused primarily on the US and US decennial census data. It goes all the way back to 1790, and I'll show you what that means in a moment. We have ACS data, which is used to be called the long form. That's a 5-year and 1-year estimate of data. We have FBI crime data, voting data, business patterns, updated environmental data, health data, Black Lives Matter data that we've developed with the New York Times showing where people protested. in June and July and by county. And so let me take a moment now and show you a little bit of the program, and then I'm going to ask Anna to give a little bit more depth, showing you how easy it is to build a map and to build an activity using Social Explorer. So Social Explorer, when your patron logs in, this is the portal. This is what they see. And if they went to Explore, they would be able to look at by year and by topic the type of data that we have in our system. When you first log in, you're at a population density map per square mile of the United States by state, which is sort of a basic place to start. But if I click change data, if I show years, these are all the years that we have data for. So when I said we go back to the first census, this is 1790. And below here are the topics that we have for that year: population, sex, family structure, slavery, age, race, native and foreign born. And these were the 7 categories collected by the US Census in 1790. If I click on 2018, you can see all of the topics that we offer data for 2018. And they're set up in sort of the order of interest by most people that log into the system: population, age, sex, race, income. So if I went to sex, it shows you the topic, and then under it, so here's total population male by state. You can zoom in by county. It's not a very exciting map since everybody's about the same when it comes to that. But it just gives you an idea of how you can drill in by topic. And then if I go back, what I want to show you is the types of things that you can build using Social Explorer. So under this section called Teach and Learn, we're developing pre-built activities that can be used in a traditional introductory course. So far we've built them out in sociology, in business, criminal justice, urban geography, nonprofit management, education, American government, research methods, US history, social problems, and we're in the process of adding some for public health, African American history, marketing, management. We're building out the entire sociology curriculum. We're building out a curriculum for introduction to psychology. And these are activities that a faculty member could use to start a lecture, or they could assign them using their LMS. They're easy to embed in an LMS. They're easy to embed a link to them in the LMS. And these give an idea of, these aren't just everything we offer. This is a type of activity that you could build using our data sets. And it gives faculty an idea of what they can do and what students can do. So this one looks at gerrymandering. And as you can see, we built out a story using our maps to look at gerrymandering. On the left is population density per square mile in 1900. On the right is population density for the year 2000. And there's information about it written here by a subject matter expert. And then you're looking at an election competitiveness map from 2018 showing how each congressional district voted in that election. And the student can investigate this. The faculty can investigate this in their American government class. And then on the last slide, they're looking at the state of Illinois and the state of North Carolina as an example of gerrymandering. So if you went in and looked at this 2012 gerrymandered map of North Carolina, in 1 second, there we go. You can see these congressional districts, and they're a very good example of, like, look at this map of this district. And so what we've tried to do with the Teach and Learn section of the site is build out activities that can be used out of the box for faculty and students, but they give them an idea of the types of activities that they can build themselves also using the tool. Also, just to let you know, we started as a research tool. And so faculty on campus this for their research. They can export the data. If they go under tables, they can see all the tables that we have. They can export this data out if they wanted to and use it in another type of program. But they can also do their sociology research using this tool. They can build maps that they can embed into their reports and into their research that they create. And they will have interactive maps showing the information they wish to show integrated into their materials. With that, what I'd like to do is turn it over to Anna Carlson, who does our training for us. I'd like her to show you how faculty and students can build maps, and just have her do some examples and show you how you can turn a map into a story. So I'm going to turn it over, and I'm going to stop sharing and turn it over to Anna.
Okay, great. Hi, everyone. I'm just going to start sharing my screen. Okay, so this is the Social Explorer dashboard. Jeff was exploring it a little bit earlier. What I'll show is how to customize and edit a map, and then how you can turn it into a story, which is what our teaching and learning modules are built on as well. And definitely feel free to interrupt me if you have questions, but we'll leave a little time at the end as well. So to create a map, you can click Explore here. You can also click Create New Map. So I'll do Create New Map. I'll just give it a name. And I'm going to select United States so that I can access all of the data in Social Explorer that are related to the United States. If you want international maps, you can scroll to the bottom. We have some international data, though we do mostly focus on US data. If you want a specific US topic, like for example, election data, you can click US election data, and then you'll just be exploring election data. You can also access the election data within the United States though. So I usually just use United States. Okay, so like Jeff showed, it's just going to create the map for you. You don't need to do any of that sort of data wrangling, accessing data, working with file types or anything like that in order to just get that first visual. And then from here, you can really customize it quite a bit. So like Jeff showed, you can use change data to access information you want. So definitely recommend just starting with a question. A lot of the time people ask questions about where they live. So it's a really great way to engage students with that. So maybe my question is, I don't know, I'll look at income. I'm curious about how much people earn throughout the country, where it's really varied, what geography levels it varies at. So there's a bunch of different variables related to income. As you can see, the Census Bureau aggregates data at all different types of levels. So this is a cumulative less than chart showing the number of people earning less than certain amounts, or number of households. This is showing number of households earning more than certain amounts. You can also filter the list by searching. A pretty common summary variable for income would be median household income. So I'll just start typing the word median. Click on this, and I have the most current median household income map for the United States. It's showing you by state median household income. Because it's a median, isn't that sensitive to outliers, so it's not going to look that different based on state, but I can change my geography level really easily using this by state section. Right now, the geography level is set to be automatic. So if I zoom in and out on my map, say I zoom in on Arkansas, it's going to go down to the county level. If I continue to zoom in on Little Rock, it's going to go down to the census tract level. But I don't need to do that. I can change my geography level to say I always want state level data no matter how far zoomed in I am, or I always want county level data no matter how far zoomed out I am. And that's when you're going to start to see some more interesting patterns. So definitely figure out what geography level works best for you. I'll also point out that since a lot of different administrative boundaries are based on census data, you can actually visualize census data at those boundaries. So for example, we were looking at congressional district data before, but like election data. You can also look at median household income by congressional district, for example, and you'll see some pretty big variability in there. So I'll go back to the county level. So definitely explore this. You can see there's a lot. If you want to look at a specific city, you can use census places. Metropolitan statistical areas are great if you live in one of those sprawling cities, like many of us do. And as shaded area, I can change the visualization. So I can change the color scheme if I want to. Maybe I don't want to stick with that classic orange. I can change it up. We can do something. We'll use this green color because it's money. You can change your visualization type as well. This is going to depend on the variable you're working with, which ones are options. Median is a statistic, so you can't visualize it as a raw number. All of your more advanced options are going to live in here under more options. This is where you can mask data. So Jeff showed an example before of congressional districts in 2 particular states. You can mask to only show one state. So I'll just show you the example really fast. Let's say we just want the state of California. Done. And now it's going to show me county level data within California, but it's going to mask out other places if for some reason I wanted to focus on that. I can turn off the mask just clicking up here. Yes, clear the mask. Okay, so there's lots of more advanced options in here. You can also filter by criteria. You can browse our layer library. It's pretty extensive. I definitely recommend looking through the layer library. You can also upload your own point level data if you want to overlay points on top of demographic data in Social Explorer. And then you can add annotations, adding text, images, arrows, lines, points, polygons. It's pretty extensive to your map using annotations. Okay. You'll also have some really useful buttons up here. This little I for more info lets you link to the data dictionary to read more about a variable. You'll also get some things like right now we're visualizing median household income. So this option popped up, it wasn't here before, to adjust for inflation if I wanted to look at historic income data, for example. Okay. You can use the legend. So the legend is automatically generated at the bottom here. If I click on a value in the legend, it's going to isolate those values. This is really useful if you want to explore distribution of something. These are going to be the wealthiest counties in the country. It's kind of interesting to look at the spatial patterns of wealthy counties, for example. There's a lot you can do with this. Okay. Bottom right, navigation tools. You can zoom in and out this way if you don't want to use your mouse like I've been doing. At the top right, you can search for a place. So you can search for an address or a geography, and you can also save that place as a annotation. So if I search for Chicago, I could save the border of the city of Chicago as an annotation on top of my map if I wanted to. Okay. So one more useful tool at the bottom right here, you can change your map view. If you want to compare multiple maps, so the example Jeff showed looked at population density between 2 different points in time. You can click change map view and that will allow you to do side-by-side or swipe maps. Side-by-side gives you 2 maps next to each other. They're just duplicated right now, but I can change the variable. You can see they just have kind of separate little control panels here. So I can change what we're visualizing so we can make a more direct comparison. Swipe is going to give you one map where everything to the left of the slider is your left map and everything to the right is your right map. So you can compare a variable really easily. I'll just show a quick example of that. If I click on income and I go to maybe 2010, income doesn't change that much, but we'll use median household income in 2010. First, it's not adjusted for inflation, so I'm just going to adjust it for inflation to the year 2018 so that my data match. And now I can compare median household income. This is 2010 and this is 2018. You can see it's changed in a couple of counties. You can kind of zoom in and do a more detailed analysis of that if you want to. Okay, or you can do the side by side. You can look at the distribution next to each other. If you go back to single map, it'll keep your left map. You can always flip them though if you want to. Okay, so I'm going to save this map. If you want to share the map with others, you have a couple different options. You can export it as an image. That's going to allow you to export it as a static image. You have some customization options here. So that's going to be useful if you need to bring it into a report or a presentation. You can also share it as an interactive link. So I can click this share option at the top right here. It's going to give me a viewable link. Anybody with the link can view it. They don't need to be logged in. They don't need to be a part of your organization. If I navigate to that link, you can see it's going to look really similar to when we created the map, but I just can't really edit it as much. You can still do some interesting exploration though. So you can change your geography level pretty easily when you're viewing a map somebody else created. You can search for a place and you can zoom in and out. You can even use the legend like we were before. So sharing a link is a great way to convey information to others. It's really useful for assignments to have students use this to as an assignment method. And then if they're working in groups, they can add collaborators' email addresses. So this will allow multiple students or multiple people to edit the same map. That's really useful, again, for group work or just any sort of collaboration. Finally, this embed code would allow you to embed this map as an interactive map into any sort of web page, which will include a learning management system. So depending on the LMS that your school uses, this can be really useful if you want to be able to embed a map or even a story inside of your learning management system. You would just copy this code. And at any time, you can turn off the visibility of your project if you want to be able to edit it. Keep in mind that the link is live always. So if I say zoom in on the state of California and then save my map, that's an edit to the map. If I go back to that same link as before, it's the same link, but you can see now it's going to be zoomed in. So same goes if you change the variable that you're looking at or any other aspects of the project. Okay. So finally, if you wanted to turn this map into a story, so if you wanted to be able to tell a narrative using the maps in Social Explorer, have multiple slides where each slide is a map, you can use this option at the bottom right here, tell a story. It's going to create a Social Explorer story where the first slide is a map. You can also create a story from scratch at the beginning, just on the Social Explorer dashboard, the same way you make a map. Instead of clicking create new map, you'll click create new story. But if you have done a lot of editing to this map, you think it's in a really good place, but you'd like it to be part of a story, just click tell a story. So I'm going to click start a story. And as you can see, the interface is really similar to when we were working in maps. Everything to the right of this gray area is pretty much the same. But now on the left here, we have some story operation options. So you can see the first slide is the map I've been making. Nothing changed about the map. I can add another slide. When you add a slide, it'll ask you what type of map you want to add. It's not permanent, so I can add a single map and then change the map view later. So I can change it to a side-by-side or swipe once I've already created it. It'll just duplicate the last map, which is nice if you only want to make minor changes. So in this next one, maybe I'll show education. I'll show people with a bachelor's degree or higher. They're not actually that strongly correlated, which is kind of interesting. But so now we have our map showing people with a bachelor's degree or higher. If you wanted to add a little sidebar of information, like in the module we showed at the beginning, you can click these three dots here and click edit slide info. You'll be able to add a title and a description. There's lots of different text editing options. You can even add hyperlinks here. And I'll just add something here so that you can see what it looks like. If you don't add anything here, there won't be a sidebar because there's no point in it taking up space on the map. Finally, we'll add a cover slide. You can only have one cover slide. It's the only non-map slide, and it will go at the beginning always. And you can just click on these text to edit them. So I'm going to call it Anna's story. It's my story and I don't have a better name. And I'll just put my name here. I can even edit the text for start here. To edit the background, this image, you just click these 3 dots and click edit cover background. You can also reorder the maps. So maybe I want to start with education and then move into income, for example. So to preview the story, I'm just going to click preview story. This is my cover slide. As you can see, the text is going to be overlaid with like a semi-transparent background on top of the image you select. And then I'll click start. This is my first slide. You can see, remember I added some information on the side of the education slide. So here it is as a little sidebar. And this is our map showing people with a bachelor's degree or higher. I can move between the slides using these options on the left here. So I'll click next. And that's going to move to the second slide, which is looking at median household income for the same year. But you can see there's no sidebar because I didn't add any text as compared to this slide. That's just the preview. If you want to create a shareable link, it's the same as before. So I would just click save here. You always want to save before you share. And I'll just grab this shareable link. And it's pretty much as easy as sharing a map. Now you just have a story interface. I can click start, and then I'm looking at this story. So again, a great way to share information with students, for students to demonstrate what they've learned to faculty, and it can all be done pretty quickly. I'll just show you some helpful resources back on our dashboard. You can get to it anytime by clicking on the logo here. You'll also notice that if you haven't saved your map, it's going to ask you to save it, but I have saved it. So, well, maybe it thinks I haven't, but I'll leave it. I know I've saved it, but it's always going to prompt you to save your map. So that's useful. So back on the Social Explorer dashboard, if you click on help, you're going to find some really useful information to help you get started in Social Explorer, or even if you've already been using it for a little bit and you just have a really specific question, definitely recommend checking it out. The search function is pretty useful. So if I search for the word site, I can find information about how to cite information on Social Explorer. And then at the bottom, they'll also give you a resource to contact if this isn't sufficient information. And the blog linked in a similar spot is going to be really useful to just engage your faculty and staff with Social Explorer, students as well. It's usually going to start with some sort of question. So I like this one, it's from Monday, talking about how expensive ski towns are. And they just, they're very short. You can see this is the whole thing. It's got an embedded map. This is what the embedded maps look like. And they're talking about how costly ski towns are. So that's just one example, but the blog is a really useful tool to check out. And I'll just point out too, you have your own projects saved here. So in my stories, you can see the story we just created. Okay, so with that, I will stop, but I am happy to take any questions. You're welcome to unmute, or you can ask questions in the chat.
Yes, please, if anybody has any questions. And if you joined or haven't put your name in the chat yet with your school, please do so we can be in touch. But again, what we'd like to do is answer your questions. And if you're interested, we'd like to offer your library a trial. And again, you can then get some special pricing through SCELC starting in July. But we would offer you a semester-long trial for your faculty to use the program. And it looks like the SCELC offer was put in the chat as well. And we're, really excited. We've worked with SCELC for years, and we've had a really nice relationship. And we're glad that we can offer this opportunity. And we're very reasonably priced. I know that some libraries may be having budget issues right now with everything that's going on, but it's an opportunity to add something to your catalog at a really great price. Are there any questions from anyone? Well, if there are no questions, Eric, do you have anything you want to add before we let people go?
No, I really enjoyed the demo. I didn't know until now the scope and breadth of what we were able to visualize. I think it's kind of amazing. I'm happy to help bring this to the SCELC libraries. We recorded this session,
Yes.
and once it becomes available, we'll be sending it out to those who have attended today and those who have expressed interest. I know that seems to be a popular question and one that just popped up in the chat. So that won't be an issue. And again, if you have any questions about the offer itself or about the platform, all of our information can be found on the offer page itself, and also through SCELC.
And just to let you know, also we're in the process of building out a LibGuide, and you can then grab that and integrate that into your LibGuides on campus as well. So we're in the process of doing that right now. That'll be new for us.
Thank you, Jeff, and thank you, Anna.
I will send you the recording, Eric, as soon as we get off the phone. And
great.
If anybody has any questions, they can reach out to Eric, or you can reach out to me. I'd be happy to answer any questions you have.
Sounds good. We'll give you back some of your time.
Well, thank you all. Thank you, Linda. Thank you, Eric. And thank you, everyone, for joining. It's appreciated.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks, everybody.